Adventure Time has a new Distance Land special coming out this Thursday on HBO Max. And I reviewed the BMO one and Obsidian, so I've reviewed all the previous specials. But I've never really actually just talked about my thoughts on the series as a whole. And I am probably, don't quote me on this may happen, may not. I'm planning on it, but plans could change. My second channel to cover the show season by season. Season by season. Cannot speak today. um, eventually, but for right now, I just want to talk about the show as a whole and do it just in this video. So if anyone wants to know my thoughts on a series as a whole after watching my review of the new Distance Land special that's coming out on Thursday, which I'm excited about. Yeah, Adventure Time is kind of, this amazing, influential cartoon that's just kind of strange because the show was very famously pitched to Nickelodeon, and we all know that it was the dumbest mistake they ever made. It became one of the most successful shows of the decade for, animated television, anyways. And and that was like a big like, how did you screw this up? But I think the show would have been very different had it been on their network. Nickelodeon, it tends to be like more like, let's just pander to the lowest demographic, and then they used to not be like that, but Cartoon Network tends to like pander to more demographics and more larger groups of people. And I think this show is very special because what started as a kind of a simple little show about this dog and this human character going on adventures in this wacky world that is crazy and fun, um, went on to be something so much greater than it was. And I think that's something special. um, I think the humor has like always been the best part of Adventure Time, and I love the first two seasons for just their humor. They're basically just straight up comedy seasons, anyways. The later seasons are not. There wasn't really lore within the show for a while, but yeah, but it was just really funny episodes, and I always hate poop and fart jokes and stuff like that. I feel like the problem with that humor is like the people who don't make them don't care. The people who make them don't care. They're trying to make that kind of joke because they know stupid children will laugh, and that's like that's why that type of humor is so prevalent in like the worst kids media and things like that, because it's made by people who don't care. This show isn't like that. The when they do that kind of stuff in the show, it's 99% like really funny and really good, and it works really well. The voice acting from the show is really great. Finn's voice is a little bit awkward at first because essentially, they actually got a 12-year-old to play Finn, and in the pilot he had this very like smells out, kind of like shouty voice, and then as his voice matured, it broke, and he started to sound completely different. It is kind of awkward when you go back to those first few seasons because of that reason, but I think it works. I think the show is very mature with how it handles a lot of relationships and stuff. One of the worst arcs they ever did is Finn's breakup with Flame Princess. I think that whole arc had a very interesting thing going for it through the start of the show, but then just fell on its feet. And another arc that really sucked was the one where Finn lost his arm, because it was a really cool arc at first, and then it went downhill. And that's where we're gonna get into negatives with this show. The animation in this show is great. So many expressive. It's so funny. It's quick. The story, or like the different characters, you just go to love them because amazing voice acting and humor here, and stuff like that. But where the show really, really falls apart is when you start getting into those later seasons, and the creators had realized at this point that we have told stories with Finn and Jake all this time, but people are really growing to like these side characters, so let's do some spotlight on them. Well, it became no longer the show that it was, Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. The theme song starts, and it's literally Adventure Time. Come on, grab your friends. We'll go to very distant lands, and that's Finn and Jake. They say Finn and Jake in the theme song, and there were entire episodes where they didn't appear at all, and it was kind of like awkward. And some of those episodes were good, some of them weren't. But you were giving spotlight to maybe characters who weren't that funny, or like characters that were really funny, but on small doses, and it became annoying, apparent. It just became quite aggravating after a while, and I think I think the show just continued to go downhill for quite a while till about season 7 picked everything up a little bit and started moving things forward. And then you get to season 8, and the show had gotten right back on its feet. It wasn't completely perfect, but it was doing everything that the show kind of should have done beforehand. And yeah, the finale, I would say the finale's kind of disappointing, but I think it's fine for what it is, and I think there was enough emotion, and I felt quite a bit watching it. It was a great series. I'm happy it ended the way it did. I think these Distant Land specials are cool. I don't know what exactly the point of them is yet, but I think once we have all of them, there might be a clearer understanding of what the point of all these Distant Land specials are. I really love Adventure Time. I can't wait to see what other shows and things take influence from Adventure Time to become great shows like it did. We saw so many great shows do that during the decade, and this is an important, great landmark of a series. I rewatch episodes over and over again. I quote moments from the show. It's just a special show, and it's crazy. It's fun. It's just a blast. So you should watch the series and come along with me to a cliff under a tree, to the butterflies and bees.